Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you a personal prediction for Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. And as always, this is of course just my take. Your predictions can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. This is a very interesting fight, as I say virtually every time I cover a fight, but it certainly is, in my opinion, a fight that I think a lot of people are interested in because you just don't know what to expect. So, would love to hear all your thoughts, your bets, your predictions, all that good stuff down in the comments section below. And a little bit of fight info here. We have Josh Taylor taking on Teofimo Lopez, as mentioned. This will be at Madison Square Garden in New York, airing live on ESPN in the junior welterweight division with the Ring Magazine and the WBO version of the titles on the line. So in many ways, this is one of my favorite kinds of fights. You have two solid names that people know, people recognize them, in a fight where they kind of need to pull this one out. You know, they're not in their best form heading into this fight. Both need a big win, and there are titles possessed currently by Taylor on the line, so you add some value in that respect as well. Why do I like these kinds of fights? Because something has to give. Someone is going to rebound based upon the other person's failure here and kind of walk away having recovered some of the past luster that they've lost in recent fights. The other will fall harder. So there's so much on the line, and fighters usually fight like that. At the very least they should, and so you're kind of hoping you're going to see the sort of fight you should where they're really putting it all on the line. So will Taylor retain the gold he brings into the fight and move on to bigger and better things, or will Lopez become a two-weight world champion and really begin the second chapter of his career? Let's break this one down. Starting with the champion here, for Taylor to win, I think you want to vary the left hand. You throw solid, straight left hands, but you also do well to throw it as an uppercut on the inside. I think that's a good idea to try and use both and vary the assault. Number one, because you do throw them pretty well, but also if he starts to kind of pick up on that left hand and you throw it from a different angle, it really is going to either push him back or he's going to walk into it, but either of which is going to benefit you in this contest. As I mentioned, it works well on the inside for you, so it's certainly something that when you are on the inside, you can score well with it before you move out and reset. I don't think you always want to be on the inside, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but for the most part, it's certainly a shot that can score when you are there before you reset, as mentioned. You can even lead with that left hand, I think, at times when and if Teofimo backs straight up because he's perhaps getting a bit flustered or frustrated, so it's certainly a shot that you can vary, mix up as the fight progresses, and have some success with. I would also say lead Lopez into shots. At times, when he gets flustered or frustrated, Lopez can get reckless. Make him pay for it. That's going to be done in a couple of ways. You can do this by turning him, scoring, then resetting. It can be done by flicking out that jab, using some angles, a whole bunch of things that you're pretty decent at. You can really amplify some of Lopez's current troubles by simply enacting them in this fight and making sure that you're just leaving him guessing a little bit. Another shot I think you can throw pretty well is that sweeping right hand. He can be caught by that, he being Lopez, and if you can throw it while he's coming in, all the better. It kind of doubles up the impact without you having to double up the force. It's just a natural shot you can kind of throw that also will line up that left hand we mentioned. The more frustrated he's getting while you're landing that left hand and boxing and moving, turning him, not letting him land, the more he's going to walk into those shots, and at the very least you can score well with those shots as he's coming inside. Finally, I would say keep your feet busy. I think ultimately you need to be moving. As I mentioned, I don't think you standing in front of him on the inside all night is really the best plan because at the very least, you're giving him his best chance. You might be able to do some decent work on the inside as well. I think you can, but why give him his best shot? Instead, mix it up when it benefits you. Make him chase at times. Walk him into those shots as mentioned. Make him pay for it as opposed to just giving it to him for free on the inside. Overall, I think when you're busier with movement and standing to fight, when it benefits you most, when you choose to, is when I think you're at your best. Now, perhaps one could argue that the weight cut has worn on you a bit and it's not allowing for you to use some of that movement that you can use at times, but I think in order to be the most successful in this fight, you need to resort back to that a little bit more and hopefully get that going for your own benefit. Switching over to the challenger, for Lopez to win, I think you want to close the distance. To be honest, Taylor doesn't have much reach over you. I think it's about an inch and a half of difference, so it's not something crazy, but he does fight a lot longer. Where you throw maybe more hooks or at the very least wilder shots where you're kind of loading up a bit more, he is pretty quick and pretty tight for the most part and gets his punches from A to Z a little bit faster. You have to get inside to try to keep it a little bit closer and, kind of stay in there to have your best chance if you're Lopez. This is where you can exchange, maybe land your possibly tougher blows, stronger blows. Taylor isn't a big puncher. Perhaps a naturally bigger guy still. At the end of the day, the only way you're going to have any chance of chipping away at him is by getting inside and throwing more blows. That being said, you have to do it smart. You can't just walk right in, because at that point he's just going to jab you and turn you all night long. Instead, you have to be the one jabbing, using some head movement so he's not able to time you, get inside, and then get that work going. I would also say line up the right hand. For starters, of course, it's the southpaw killer, and that's a shot you're looking to land, but I also think you just have a good one, and that's always a shot you should be looking to land if you're Lopez to begin with. You can do this, of course, by stepping to your left to get around his shot and kind of close the distance while stepping forward and adding some impact to it. At the same time, you can also blind him with a quick jab and get that right hand going in that respect. But this is going to do a lot of things for you if you can get it going consistently. It might push Taylor back a bit more straight, might keep him on more of a straight line, and that can allow for you to get some of those shots with a little more mustard on them going forward, pressing them a bit more, and potentially putting some hurt on them. And finally, I would say keep your hands busy. Where Taylor needs to use some more movement, you need to use some activity. Again, this doesn't mean just all-out assault. It means you have to do it smart, as mentioned, but you do need to be busy. You can't afford to be outworked. You have to push the pace. This also, as I mentioned, kind of gives you a better chance to land something meaningful without having to load up all the time. Hopefully, the activity would stop you from trying to put everything into one shot. Instead, try to put all you have into multiple shots. The more shots you throw, more of them coming from a natural kind of stance and torque and everything else, the better you have a chance of just landing a solid natural shot that puts them in trouble. You can't load up, you have to let the shots flow, and the more you do that by staying busy, the better your chances are for success on the night. Now, in terms of my pick here, while this fight could obviously go either way, it's a very wild card type fight, I think the size and mentality of Taylor pulls him through the contest. Lopez doesn't seem to have the same pop or effectiveness at 140 pounds just yet, and I think Taylor will kind of use that to his advantage. He will land the quicker shots, move and frustrate Lopez, who tries hard to load up and land something big, further hurting his cause in the process. And I think Taylor will realize that and psychologically will build bigger and bigger into the fight, because he's the sort of fighter who's very strong-willed and knows that when he has you going, he's going to keep putting a foot on your neck. Down the stretch, I think Taylor will use those solid left hands and the occasional right hand to score well as Lopez tries to close the distance, but mostly fails. Lopez might have his moments, particularly if Taylor does tire late, maybe feeling that cut, but overall I don't think it'll be enough. Winner, Josh Taylor via unanimous decision. Now, in terms of the betting odds here, we have Taylor at a decent favor here, coming in at a -175, with Lopez coming in at a +135. For the most part, decent odds for either guy. You're not going to get back a whole bunch unless you bet a whole bunch, but for the most part, you're getting decent odds. It's a good, close pick'em fight for the reasons I've kind of mentioned here. My money would be on Taylor here, but only a medium-sized bet. Again, I'm pretty confident he wins this fight. Again, I probably said that last week and got every single pick known to man wrong, but having said that, I do think that Taylor has the chance of pulling this one off, and you're getting an okay return on that. Of course, if you're a Lopez supporter, definitely go for him. You're getting a little bit more than your actual bet there, so why not? In terms of the over-under, it's set at a 10.5, which basically means a decision, with the over being at a -220 and the under being at a +165. If you're a Lopez supporter, I think the under might actually be a slightly better bet to some degree. Number one, I think you're getting better odds for it, but also, if Lopez wins, I think it's probably by stoppage, and it might not necessarily have to be in those last couple of rounds. What's more, you get the added caveat of if Taylor happens to stop him, you still win that bet too. So that's certainly an odd that I might look at if I was a Lopez supporter, or if I was a giant Taylor supporter for that matter. But in any event, those are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 16-9 with 11 exact, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, predictions, bets, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB, and you can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you there. Also be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, grades, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time.